everybody, welcome to Smokescreen episode 11 or 12 or something like that. I'm Tom.
I'm Craig.
I'm Tony.
And Mr. Silence
is Dan.
Last episode, if you're listening or watching consecutively,
in any chronological order,
or the chronic, which is...
I mean, if you've got the box set, you would have seen it.
The box set. I forgot about the box set we're going to offer soon. So we were going to talk about candy, and then we're going to talk about beer, but then we just got a little long-winded on beer. So now we're going to talk about candy.
But Tom, I also have beer candy.
Beer sound effect time.
Yeah.
Oh,
we could start with that.
Yeah. Let's each have a beer candy or two.
These are jelly beans that taste like beer.
Yeah, but look at it, they're like golden.
Jelly Belly, right?
Jelly Belly,
which is famous for their nasty.
I don't know. I got these for Christmas quite a while ago.
These are the ones that taste like vomit. I'm going to be mad.
Vomit,
like Harry Potter-ish.
But
I'm not getting any beer at all.
I taste a little bit already.
I got no beer. I just got sweet. Maybe a little. They squeak like cheese curd.
A little bit.
There's an initial effervescence I could maybe associate with beer.
Yeah, it's probably really light because who wants to have a beer flavored candy?
Right.
True.
It's not quite sweet enough.
It's actually pretty good. But so the topic came up again. I don't know. Somebody else said something that got me thinking or whatever about candy. And we've all grown up with candy, some more so than others. But I just thought it might be a nice, lighthearted topic. Maybe we'll transition into bad things as we go along here.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
We're each going to come up with a better Pez dispenser, right?
That's right. And then after that, we're going to talk about elephant dung. But before that,
no elephant dung.
Yeah, candy. What's a favorite candy? Who wants to start from young or old? What's a favorite candy?
My favorite candy bar as a kid was Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers. Why?
I don't know why. I didn't eat a lot of candy, but that was just one of my favorites.
I like the soft kind of.
It was the sort of firmer on the outside, that real foamy, whatever you want to call it, on the inside. I found out later on that there were people that actually froze them and ate them.
Oh yeah,
which I never tried. It just doesn't sound any good to me at all. But I just love it.
I think they break off in little solid chunks too.
I mean, then they just melt and become that foamy.
Yeah.
Isn't there a salad where it's really more of a dessert? It's like sliced up Milky Way, whipped cream, and like something else, and it's just like, oh my lord, what a sugary buzz that is.
Deviant
chunks
salad.
of apple, I think, are in it.
Oh wow!
And chocolate. Interesting.
My favorite, and I always go back to seeing movies, but I loved the Heart Candy Spree. Loved it. You know, by the end of the movie, my tongue was raw and bleeding.
Those were interesting because they were that's the coated one, right?
They're like a giant.
It starts out smooth,
sweet tart,
but then after a few too many, you get that kind of a coarse white sugary something. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Fred, what do you got for candy?
There's I remember when the Twix candy bar came out.
Sure.
That was always pretty cool. A little, we get into a Jonesin for a treat once in a while. My mom and she'll say something like, gosh, it sure would be nice to have some licorice right now. And it's like, dang it. I didn't want any licorice. 3 seconds ago.
Red or black?
Usually red, but although I do like the black licorice too.
I love the black.
Oh,
what was that sound?
We just heard a gunshot in the background. That is my brother probably sighting in his gun to see just how straight shooter he is. Here we've got some Twizzlers that we can try for old time's sake.
Least favorite candy in this bag, I'll tell you that.
You know what? Another one that was a big favorite, and it only came out once a year. Nothing but concentrated sugar, but candy hearts.
Oh man, that's true.
You could buy them by the pound at Doug's grocery store.
Those with the messages on them?
Yeah, with messages on them.
Valentine's
and I would love to give them out to I'd actually kind of sand off the messages and write my own messages on them.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah. That was
nowadays with a laser printer, your son has a laser printer. Kurt has
an engraver.
Put some stuff on there.
But the other one that was always fun, and this is so cliche, but the triangular shaped candy corns that you try to bite off by color. So you'd bite off that very
White.
Right?
The tip, and then you bite off the neck. Yeah,
Did
All right.
you actually like those though, Tony?
I did.
Yeah.
Because that, we were also going to talk about which candies we hated. That would have been on my low list, man.
Same here.
Candy corns it's so weird, and they actually made a soda flavored like candy corn at one time.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Although they did make Hubba Bubba flavored soda,
Mm-hmm.
which
I
was
didn't know that.
great actually. That leads. I was just thinking. Let's do. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down, and I'm gonna just kind of mention some candy types. Different kinds. So, all right. So, let's talk about carnival peanuts.
No,
I would say-
I'm yes on that.
Okay. We got the licorice. Where are you on with licorice?
Black, yes. Red, no.
I could take it. Or
No
leave it.
red.
Take it or leave
Not
it.
red. Black, yes.
Not
I don't love
Okay.
it, but because it's in this bag, it's like
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about chocolate and peanut butter combo.
Thumbs up.
Yes.
And I don't like peanut butter, but
And can we take a moment to a memoriam for PB Max? Do you guys remember that candy?
That one I don't.
Were there pretzels in it too?
It was chunks. There was like cookie chunks. So if you took the cookie part of what is that one that's got the chocolate caramel cookie on top? Twix.
Twix.
If you took the Twix and you had it kind of chunked up, a lot of peanut butter, and it was like a square about that big, and kind of a mound, a lot of peanut butter. It was pretty good. It was much more peanut buttery than the kind of drier, grainier Reese's Pieces.
Like a Reese's.
Interesting.
How about let's say gummy bears?
No,
I like them.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Tony, it's so
worms?
weird because you are
Right.
thumbs downing the things that we're thumbsing.
the opposite.
thumbsing
You are.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about sour, like Sour Patch Kids?
Nope.
Ooh,
There's
sour.
a couple in there. Maybe
Nope.
they're not a go-to, but if they're there, you go.
Sour Patch
Pass
Kids.
it to Dan.
But Swedish Fish, I'm gonna have to say no, thank you.
I've never had a Swedish fish.
Here we got Swedish Fish today for you
What
to
is
try. It's kind of, you
Swedish?
know what? You're
Oh, it's
probably
like
not
a gummy.
going to like it because it is
You won't
kind of
like it.
gummy.
Don't bother. Tony's
Yeah.
a poo-for. Those are good though. We used to get those as a kid.
Yeah.
What else can you think of?
I'm trying to think of how about remember the Jujubes? They were the little, and if you tried to chew them, they get stuck in your teeth.
Oh, hard as
You'd
a
be
rock, right?
picking them out. Yeah. They become a part of your teeth.
My son and his buddy David, something with some of those. I don't know what it is, but they would do something unusual and buy them and try to eat them. I've tried soaking them in hot water,
Okay.
and after a period of time, they do not soften hardly at all. It's just
Great.
crazy.
What is this? That's
Jujubes are like little hard
Yeah.
colored
Mhm.
gummies, but they're hard
Mhm.
as a rock.
And become super sticky. Yeah, like Sour Patch. They'll get a little sticky, but your tongue work them off. Jujubes, man, if they get between your teeth, they're there
Yeah.
until you get a toothpick.
Do you guys remember Boston baked beans?
Yep. That was
I
very
love
similar.
I
Mhm.
love those.
No, those
Those
are
weren't very
Those had a
hard.
peanut in the inside though.
yeah, and like red candy crunchy
Yeah.
coating. Yeah. How
Those
about
I
like
like.
your Mike and Ike's, your Jolly Goods.
Not
Take 'em
for
or
me.
leave 'em.
Not really.
How about bottle caps? Remember them?
Oh yeah,
I do. I love bottle caps,
caps
sweet
are-
tarts, sprees. I love the hard candy.
I think those are still
Bottle
around
caps
somewhere.
didn't trip my fancy as much. There was a candy bar that was like from a foreign country called Toffee Fay, which was like 3 little rounded things. So it was like a little cup that had a cup of caramel type stuff, and then a cup of another type of caramel, and then a chocolate top. And it was just like this eyeball of goodness that you could kind of eat. And they were pretty damned expensive for candy bars, but man, they were one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
How about the Cadbury egg around Easter?
Oh dear God!
Does that
Too
have
sweet.
marshmallow in the middle?
No, it's like
It was a little creamier in the center.
Yeah.
It was just so sweet.
Yeah, I
Too
don't
sweet
think
for
I
me.
very
like those.
sweet.
A lot of these candies you can't find anymore. But I was at a store in New York that was only candies, and it was just aisle after aisle. And it was like walking back into your childhood.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you could find all of the candies you remember as a kid that you just can't get anymore.
Candy cigarettes.
Candy
Oh,
cigarettes.
those were great.
Oh,
Pop Rocks, you remember when those got banned?
yeah. Pop Rocks and Jolt.
I wonder. I was just talking to somebody about Jolt the other day. I wonder with that generational gap again, we're 33 decades in age difference from kids in their 20s right now. But like, do my kids or your kids? Is there that candy like, oh, remember
I don't-
this that you can't find anymore, or is it just the Kit Kats and the Reese's Pieces and
I don't know. I mean, when I remember being little, if you got a couple bucks, we'd go down to the corner store. We'd ride our bikes down there, and we would spend hours like picking out the perfect selection of candy to go back and watch cartoons with.
Was it like a penny candy store?
Kind of. Yeah, it was called
that.
Mertz's, and it was like it was a home that had part of its house was a convenience store.
Yeah.
You know what goes well with candy is a pipe.
They say that.
That's what all the kids are doing nowadays.
Yeah.
At Smokescreen, we have to legally smoke at least on every 4th episode, I think. The lawyer said.
Or you lose the rights to the name.
Right.
We were gonna, and we can come back to Pez dispensers at the end, but Pez was a big thing, and that's become quite a collector's market for some of those dispensers. What
There's
a great marketing!
Very interesting documentary online about the Pez outlaw. On Netflix.
What's that mean?
And this dude, he went over, made a connection with one of the bigwigs at Pez, and he's like, "Hey, what I want you to do is I want you to print this in this color instead, and in this color instead, and do this one with these 2 color changes." And he'd bring them back to these shows and stuff, and people went nuts for it. He ended up investing like a good chunk of his lifestyle into it, like $1 million plus into getting all these things made. And the first couple shows, it was a hit. By the 3rd show, the Pez company found out what he was doing and came out with knockoffs of his knockoffs.
That's the worst.
So what he was selling for $25, now Pez could sell for $5. And they had different packaging and stuff, but it totally made this guy lose his nest egg.
Wow.
But it was, again, it's for some of those folks, just these slight color changes were such a big deal. I remember there was something called the bubblehead guy, just this ugly little bubble-headed man, and you could get it in green, you could get it in pink, you could get it in all these other colors. But what would be the Pez for today? That doesn't exist, because I'm thinking right now, as I said that
dispenser theme.
Yeah, a little dispenser theme. Okay. As I was saying that, I'm like, okay, well, there'd be the little baby Yoda.
They have that.
That I'm sure that already exists.
Yeah.
But what?
Well, I was going to talk a little bit more about some other candies, candy raisins when we were a kid.
Oh boy.
We had the penny candy store where you'd get 2 candies for a penny. Saturday mornings, we got a dime allowance from our parents, and we'd get 20 pieces of candy.
Wow.
Candy raisins, you can still get some places. I know there's a place in Greenville, a bulk price fruit store that sells them.
Well, now I can see why 25 cents from your brother to fight your friend was like,
Yes, please.
We're going
to candy store next.
Whatchamacallit, I think, came out when I was in high school. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I just didn't go after it.
I like a crisp. I like some Rice Krispies in there.
What else is? I mean, there's so many candies out there. There's a funny comedian. If I would have done the show research beforehand, there's a comedian that talks about something like a bus driver, and then the bus driver starts mentioning candies, and this comedian goes on for so long, hilariously. Butterfinger, Jujubes, Mike and Ike, Twisty Fristy, this, that, and what, and he's got like 30 of them memorized, and it's just so funny. I'll find that and put that in the credits maybe.
How about candy sticks? Or what were those? No, not pixie sticks, although that's
straws with sugar in them?
Those are pixie sticks. But they also had what were they called?
Fun dips?
No. It's just a little straight stick of candy that had a curly Q on the top.
Tasty toffee.
No, those. I mean, I'm talking
Swedish
old
fish.
school stuff.
Twizzlers.
But not a pixie stick where you just dump the
No,
sugar.
not a pixie stick at all. This was a solid sugar stick. You'd get them at like the Red Mill or something. They're all in a little jar, and you'd say, "I want 10 of those peppermint. I'd like one of cloves."
Candy canes and
Well, they were kind of like a candy cane. They were exactly like a candy cane without the curve.
All right.
You guys don't remember
What were the suckers that the owl advertised? You could suck
Oh,
all day.
Tootsie Rolls, Tootsie Pops,
Tootsie Pops. There you go.
But
And
then
Tootsie Rolls.
lollies, and what were the
Dum-dums.
Dum-dums?
Those
Yeah,
were
those
good.
are the ones I'm thinking
It's
of.
like, Mr. Turtle, how many
Yeah.
licks
How many licks does it take to get to
I
this?
never found her. Go ask Mr. Owl.
Let's find out. A 1, a 2,
two,
a 3, a 3.
Look
Three
that-
Owls kind of a dick.
Look up that old commercial on YouTube, Tootsie Roll
Yeah.
Owl.
Yep.
Speaking of turtles, I think, and candy dispensers, I think somebody has a turtle that you like push the tail and it poops out a turd that's a jelly bean or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
if it's not a turtle,
Sure.
it's some other animal that you push the tail.
I've seen that with like little chicks that bounce around and
Yeah.
yeah.
Tony, do you remember Big League Chew?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
You get like a little tobacco pouch of candy.
Yeah, a foil pouch with
Just
Candy.
so many segues to
Candy
the vices
cigarettes.
of an adult. Yeah.
Well, yeah. When I was a kid, candy cigarettes, Big League Chew, candy crack, candy cocaine.
Right.
What are some other
How about
kinds?
the wax bottles that had liquor in it? But
oh,
they,
yeah.
Those were horrible.
they were so
Anything
gross.
with the wax.
Anything
The
wax
Bite the
lips.
top off
Yeah,
the
wax
bottle.
lips.
Oh,
So gross.
I loved them, but they weren't very tasty.
But as
No.
a kid, you chew on it and be like,
Wax
"Oh,
fangs.
there's sugar residue," and then
Right,
this is
yeah.
wax.
Eventually, this is not gum. Let's get spit it out.
And speaking of gum, again, I'm so old that I think when I was in high school, they came out with either Hubba Bubba or Bubble Yum. And that was
Yeah.
like such
Oh,
a,
dear God.
wow, this gum is soft already and you can blow bubbles that are
Yeah.
as big as your head.
Hubba
Yeah.
Bubba, Bubble Yum, Bubblicious.
Bubblicious.
I think those were the
We-
three.
we
Those
started
were the
with Bazooka.
right.
Well,
because
Bazooka.
which was hard as a rock.
Hard
It always
as
had the
a
comic. It was that waxy wrapper. There was always a
Yeah.
comic on the inside, but they blew the best bubbles. If you got about 4 or 5 pieces in there after an hour of chewing, you could blow
Yeah.
great
They're
bubbles.
nowhere chewing.
And
Or-
just
or the
the
opposite.
jaw
It would
was
take an
so
hour.
sore.
Or the opposite, after 30 seconds, it's like all the sugar's gone. This is getting to be like a rock.
Well,
in
that's the zebra fruity, not fruity stripe. What was the
there.
zebra?
Zebra. That rings a bell.
Like
Oh yeah, Fruit Stripe.
fruit stripes.
Yeah,
Maybe
that was super
3
sweet.
seconds.
Yeah, that had
Yeah.
3 seconds of flavor, but
Yeah.
it was great flavor.
it was.
Oh, those were so good. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now it's cardboard.
yeah.
I've just pulled up a picture here, and they've got like Laffy Taffy. You guys remember
Sure,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
And now they
Never
have
liked that.
they had
Yeah.
little. I always kind of liked them, I guess, but they had little jokes on the packages.
On a Laffy.
Oh,
They had
right.
2 jokes
That
on the
makes sense.
packages, and if you flipped it one way, you'd get the punchline for the other joke.
Mhm.
And we'd always do that at Comedy City. So we'd flip the Laffy Taffy jokes so that they'd have something else. It's like, why did the bee say? What did the bee say to his honey? And then it's like 15, and it's like, ah! So the jokes would sometimes make sense, but a lot of times they didn't.
Interesting.
There was a candy called Goldmine candy. It came in a bag as
Gum.
like little gum
Yes.
chips.
Hmm.
That was kind of
I think
interesting.
Hobby Lobby-
Hobby Lobby might still have that.
Interesting.
I got that for home.
Really.
Yeah, just a little
Gobstoppers.
drawstring pouch, and would have like odd,
Oh, maybe
Yeah. Yep.
differentiating Goldie.
that maybe does ring a bell.
I
Yeah,
was
we-
more.
Go ahead.
I think I was more into the candy bars than the candy.
Yeah.
Your $100,000 bars.
Yeah,
Baby
if I had a
Ruths,
candy
choice,
bars.
it would be
Mhm.
hard candy over chocolate or any of the other flavor.
Interesting.
I'd be hard candy.
You guys familiar with the whole Willy Wonka
Oh yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
came out? I mean, they
Yeah.
came out with a movie with Gene Wilder way back in the day, and they had this huge undertaking as far as it's going to be this big candy promotion, right? But then they found
For the
out
Gene Wilder one?
for the Gene Wilder
Okay.
one, and they had candy bars that were going to tie into the film, but they didn't stay on the shelves decent. They melted.
Oh.
So that was so it ended up being a movie that was kind of, it didn't hit its mark that they wanted it to as far as advertising,
Mm.
but it kind of became that pop culture
It's a
phenomenon
great movie.
Yeah,
that was really important. And then they had everlasting
Everlasting
gobstoppers from
Wow.
that thing.
yeah.
Those were great. I mean,
I never had one of those. Like it looked like the weird.
I still have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still have ours from when we were kids.
Never go away.
You're still waiting for the elevator to land. Okay, Craig, your turn.
Anything else candy on this side of the table or the fence? Old stuff we haven't mentioned. We could almost do another episode and bring in some of these old candies and maybe ask
Nerds,
younger kids, hey,
Starburst.
what's a
Nerd,
go-to candy when you were a little
I don't.
kid?
My kids
I don't-
anyway. They're not. They weren't. Maybe it's just not as much available to them, but they don't seem to be into the candy.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a
Like we-
kid, this isn't on the list there, but I don't know if it's necessarily a snack or if it's a candy, but Cracker Jacks.
Oh yeah.
That was a good
And
one.
I remember hearing a tale when I was a kid, whether it's an urban
Everybody
legend or
lean
not.
in. What
Lean
was the
in.
story?
I don't know if it was an urban legend, possibly could be, but we knew somebody whose aunt bought a package of Cracker
And
Jacks,
what was in it?
and there were no Cracker Jacks in it at all. It was all prizes. The whole box was prizes.
man.
Could you imagine that?
I couldn't
What a
imagine
great promotion if it
and-
was intentional.
And they actually had, like, you'd lick your skin and put the
Tattoo.
little
Oh, yeah.
tattoo on, but then they had to kind of get rid of that because there was supposedly LSD related
Oh,
connections
yeah.
with that.
Me
I
and my-
remember they would have the little weather indicators
Yeah.
with the fuzzy cloud, and if it was purple or
the ring,
weather.
pink,
Tell me more.
pink
I
or
don't remember
blue.
that.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was a piece of
Like a
cardboard,
mood ring type thing.
and well, it would have like a very shallow felt almost. And I don't know if it was temperature based or what, but it would be kind of pinky or blue based, and that would like, oh no, bad weather, or pink was fine or
I don't
something.
remember that. I remember the tattoos and a few other, little whistle to choke on or whatever. But,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, let's now segue sort of into the other topic. If you were going to invent a new Pez dispenser, or it could be a candy dispenser, but like, what would be something weird? And I really didn't come up with much of anything,
We
but
got something.
They had
Yeah.
Pez guns.
I was gonna say, like, you remember the
Well,
disc guns?
shoot a little.
Oh,
yeah.
I could see shooting sprees, or actually bottle caps would fly pretty nice.
You know
on
what
those.
though? We were just talking about that in one of the earlier episodes. I think is just the danger of what toys we have when we were kids. That's another episode right there.
Yeah.
Toys from childhood. We could shoot doggone little darts at each other, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's so
There
dangerous.
were a couple of recalls where they pulled stuff off the market,
Yeah.
and then the horror story started about, well, what happened to cause the recall?
Yeah.
well, let me tell you. But the dart thing reminds me, my son in college used to play the game where you put a can of beer between your feet in a lawn chair.
Yep.
And then you guys girls throw darts, try and hit the can. And if you hit it, you got to drink it,
Yep.
but it might hit your foot. And I was
Barefoot?
just like, I think so, or shoes, but it's like,
We've
A
done
full
it with
dart?
shoot. Oh yeah.
so you've done that.
Yeah.
But I was
You
like,
sit around this every college graduation.
I'd never heard of that.
If
And
you
it's
drive
just like,
by college campuses at this time of year, and you look in every front yard, and there's a circle of lawn chairs with a whole pile of cans of beer in the middle. Yeah, and I've never been there when anybody ever got hit. Oh,
Wait,
Lord.
is the can between your feet?
You put the can between your feet.
How
See, so
hard
you-
would it not be to hit feet?
You've never heard of it? I'd never heard of it. Have you heard of it before?
I've heard of it, I guess, but I've also heard of the game Mumbly Peg when we were
We
kids.
used to play that.
Yeah. And that's an old school.
what
We
is
should
that?
save that one for games.
Okay.
Well,
Oh yeah,
what
we should do
games?
one in games.
Yeah.
Boom Cup is one I learned from my
Boom
daughter when
Cup.
she was in college. It's a fun drinking game.
Anybody ever had-
Hammerschlagen,
Hammerschlagen.
Oh, that's with a hammer and a match, or what is that?
hammer and some nails and a log.
Oh yeah,
Big
yeah,
log,
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That could take out an eye.
so before we get too off topic, but like candy dispensers, shooting, what else could you have other than a trademark, character pooping out or spitting out a candy? Is there
Yeah,
anything
maybe
else?
something super lame. What would be the most boring concept of?
So you get this microphone.
Yeah,
If you want to be a podcaster, you get a microphone and then you push a little button.
or a combination.
And
You know what? You think about it. That's really like an early trainer for kids with lighters.
the Pez?
Pez. Heck yeah.
Wrong direction, dude.
Dude, it
Wow.
depends on which way you're flipping your
Zippo.
thumb. You totally flick your thumb the one way and it's got a piece of Pez. You flick your thumb on a lighter, you got a flame.
Okay, now you got a product idea.
Yeah.
How about like, could you do something with a strike anywhere match, where
It could be made out of candy.
Oh, so you're
candy?
thinking of a product that actually has dual purposes.
No, I'm lost on this idea of a
Could you
candy dispenser.
you could probably 3D print candy, couldn't you?
You could. Yeah, they make edible printers. Well, things that you can print that are edible.
Really?
Yeah.
How
And so you
disgusting.
could totally make
Edible. That's,
you could totally make a candy.
Could you
Like
print an
that.
edible?
I think you
THC in
probably
it?
could. I think you probably could.
Going to
Um,
Michigan,
Not in Wisconsin.
making it legal.
I'm not sure how that would work, but I think as far as Pez dispensers are concerned, there's a lot of options, and almost every trademarked character and series is already out there.
Oh,
yeah.
But what is not out there?
I wonder what's the most valuable. What is the Pez
You know what? I think the most valuable Pez is something that you'd look at and you'd go like, "Are you kidding me? because it's some misprinted colored thing.
Oh,
That it's like, what?
or Howdy Doody.
I thought you were going to
First
say
release.
you had. I had some of those as a kid, and I threw them away.
Oh yeah, we all
Roger
had
Rabbit
them.
or
Some of them.
Right.
Threw them away.
burned them. All right. Well, we're at like 26 minutes.
How
so we
about
could-
a rock? Where
Ooh.
it'd be like, look, it's a pencil, it's a rock and a piece of paper and a scissors. It's three different kinds. That would be kind of cool. And it's like, which one are you gonna take? I don't know. Oh dang, Tony picked paper. I picked rock. Darn it. Tony beats mine.
Well, what is your? Okay, so we're gonna do our Pez offerings.
I don't know.
You
I
know
know
what
about
else?
edible? Isn't there like? Was there a candy that was like almost paper thin, like edible paper? Am I just?
There was
making it up?
something that had dots put on it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And you had to eat the paper because they did not come
yeah,
off.
you could kind of put the
Is
paper
that
in your
one?
mouth and just kind of
Think-
pull them
Yeah.
out and get rid of.
Well, they
all
were
of
the
different
ones. Yeah, the
things.
little dots. You tried to peel them out. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
different
saying?
colors.
Yeah. And you, no matter how well you did, you always got a little paper.
Yeah. I kept coming
And it didn't hurt us, but now
No,
they don't have that at all.
Back.
Yeah.
We don't want kids
these
to eat
big
that.
candy stores probably have them, or if you looked online, you'd find it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think maybe a candy. We had candy cigarettes, candy, whatever else we said. Why not have an edible match that's made out of
Oh
sugar
my
and
god.
wood?
Yeah.
Nothing new under the
You know,
sun.
and speaking of candy cigarettes, they made a kind for a short period of time that actually had extra powdered sugar in it. So when you blow
Oh.
through it, it would make a little dust out of it. Do you remember those at all?
Yes, I do.
I don't
I remember those. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah, look at me.
Dang. Laramie.
No need to steal cigarettes from my parents' ashtray. I can go buy some candy and
Yeah.
puff a smoke. All right. Well, I guess we'll kind of wrap it up. This is where
It's
we
been a pretty sweet topic.
sweet and sour, delicious candy topic. So,
Yeah.
And dip into our childhood.
And in the comments, add your favorite candy.
or text us, but it's too late now because the show's over.
Or send some to the
All right,
show.
Dan's pointing at the camera.
Yeah.
I'm
or
gonna
we,
point.
Yeah.
we should set up a 1-800 number like
There you go.
Fantasy Friends.
There you go.
Cool.
Thanks for watching.
When I was a kid, don't turn it off just yet.
Okay, keep going.
Sit down. When I was a kid, my brother John used to throw licorice out the window. Our house was a 3-story old monster.
Okay.
Go up to that 3rd story, and I had to verify with him recently. Did you throw out the whole pack of licorice or just pieces? Like, oh, just pieces.
For what?
'Cause
Why?
What?
Why?
If you're in 3rd grade and your brother's throwing candy from
Oh.
3 stories up, it's like, holy shit, John, you over here.
Oh.